Hi, this is Monique Hall, joining you with another episode of recounting my experience surviving three consecutive heart attacks and coming out on the other side after suffering cardiac arrest each time. I almost didn't do the episode today. It's been a rather challenging week, and I'm a little tired, so um, it's going to be extremely raw today. I can already tell. This episode is going over how my loved ones close to me responded when the news was presented to them that I had suffered a heart attack and I was in ICU. Of course, I'm telling it secondhand. The parties involved are a little bit on the bashful side, and I didn't choose to do it in an interview type way. So I'm going to do my best to interpret things based on how it was told to me when I got home. Initially, my husband Chris, he knew that, of course, he needed to tell my family. He knew my mom was just not an option, and for the foreseeable future until he knew more about my status. That information it was just decided that she wouldn't know, not for any other reason than the fact that she is the survivor of 3 strokes. 2 were diagnosed and treated in the hospital. The very first one was not detected. We didn't know about it until her second stroke, after seeing the neurologist that was assigned to her case. But once we found out, it was more of like, I knew it. She cannot handle a lot of high stress. It will trigger TIAs, and what those are mini brain hemorrhages that aren't good for her condition. So a lot of my decisions and a lot of the things that I do in my life revolve around her health and trying to keep her healthy and keep her here. Chris knew that, so he decided to tell her sister, my Aunt Janet, for all intents and purposes is my second mom. Another person I would give that title to was my grandmother, Johnny Doosan. But I do have my Aunt Janet, who I could do a whole episode about her and all the things that she's done for me in my life. I love her dearly. Sorry. He called her, and it was in the early hours of the morning. And at the time, she was still actively a foster parent, and she had some girls staying with her. Chris called and explained to her what happened, and she just started screaming and crying and just walking through her house, screaming, "Oh Lord, oh Lord, oh Lord." I can just see it. had to stay there, and be available for updates. So my Aunt Janet, being her, she took on the responsibility of telling my two older sisters. She called my eldest sister Trisha first, and I believe she was on her way to work, and Jenny, told Trisha, and she started screaming and crying, and she had to pull over, of course, uh, and then she just had her counseled with her and had her pull herself together. I don't know if she continued going to work to tell her superiors, or if she turned around and went home. That much I've never been clear on, and it didn't occur to me to ask. I just know that very quickly she was there in the hospital with me. Next was my sister Stacy, and Stacy, her reactions to things are very quiet and very pitiful. She just cried. They were the only people that I remembered seeing for the first few days after I woke up. My cousins had come out, as I mentioned before, and provided me with tremendous support and love. My Aunt Janet, it took her a little while. I asked for her to come, and why it was difficult is my Uncle Paul passed away. I think it's been 5 years now, but he was in a similar situation before his ventilator was turned off, and it was just too much for her. And even though I understood that, I really wanted her with me, but and my dad would say it is what it is. But eventually she came, and it was after the ventilating tubes were taken out, so I think it was easier for both of us, of course. It was a good at least 2 days before my mom was told, and neither of my sisters were the people that shared the news for whatever reason. My Aunt Janet and my cousin Sylvia came over to the house, and I'm not sure how. Maybe they told her that at that time, but we were just cautioning her from coming out to the hospital until later to see me. So I think it was that day, because she would have known something was wrong if she hadn't heard from me. I mean, we speak every day on the phone, several times a day. So my sister Stacy had gotten home. She lives with my mom, and Jenny and cousin Sylvia showed up, and they came in, and they had very kind of concerned, brooding, nervous looks on their face. not knowing what to expect from my mom and how she would react. She was sitting in her spot on the sofa in front of the TV, but she looked at them and she knew something was wrong. And she asked, "What's wrong? It is it Nikki?" Like, she knew, and I think based on conversations I had had with her prior, we were just both really nervous about my health at the time, just based on the stress that I was under. But not thinking my heart. Whenever we talk about it, she thought I would have suffered a stroke like she had. But my aunt, she said she stood there wringing her hands because she just didn't know how to tell her about me. And my cousin Sylvia, God bless her, she gathered up the courage, and she said it is about Nikki. And my mom shifted in her seat and she said, "Is she dead? Is she dead?" And they said, "No, but she's had a heart attack." They had told her I had a heart attack, and they wanted to know if I had died. And I told her no, and she said, "Well, I want to see her." And she was getting up out of her seat. She was gonna do, what she had to. But they reasoned with her and got her to stay calm and to stay home and do what I would have wanted and to take care of herself. So those were the initial ones and the hardest. She did get to come see me, and it was days later. I went through all of this when early hours of Wednesday morning, and I didn't see my mom for the first time until Saturday. I had my ventilator taken out. I think it finally came out that Friday morning. They had wanted to have it come out Thursday, but my lungs were too weak. So she was brought in and they had her in a wheelchair, and she came in and I held up my hand and I waved at her and said, "Hi, Mom." And just so sad. She said, "Oh, my baby, how did this happen to you?" And it just took a really long time. And she didn't stay long. I didn't want her to stay long. I was, again, just worried. And my husband kind of chuckles and says, that is just like you to be worried about other people, and you're the one in the hospital. That's our son in the background. Anyway, I'm coming close to my time, and honestly, I don't think I can really talk about this much more right now. But there's more episodes in store, and I will continue to share them. Like I said, I really am doing this as a promise to a friend and a desire to help others that have gone through similar experiences. This is Monique Hall, and I'm signing off for now. Thank you.